My name is Missy Flynn. I am co-founder of this restaurant called Rita's, which is a modern bistro with a slight American influence on Lexington Street in Soho, London. I grew up not far from here in Covent Garden, and my father used to run pubs, so I kind of grew up in hospitality. Being here has shown myself and my partner Gabriel the possibility of creating community and neighbourhood in a place that a lot of people might assume is really anonymous because of where it is and because it's kind of a tourist destination and because it's so fast moving. In like a roundabout way, I think it has maybe a stronger sense of community than I ever felt that it could. Feels like a contribution to an amazing city that I love to hate and hate to love. So this is not the first version of Rita's that we've done. Gabriel and I started our business when we were in our early 20s. We started a very lo-fi early version of a pop-up restaurant in 2012 in Dalston in a nightclub, and then evolved that into a restaurant on Mare Street in Hackney. So we had a really good time with it, and I think what happened was we essentially fell into some bad business, and that was a massive, massive learning curve. And in a nutshell, we sort of reached a point where we needed to take on some investment and ended up partnering with some people who didn't quite have the same vision as us. And the restaurant started to feel not special. It started to kind of come apart and not look how it initially looked. And it didn't feel like we were aligned on the level of quality that we wanted to deliver. Yeah, there was one point when we realized we're going to have to close this restaurant, and took a bit of a hiatus. And I think in that time learned how to take what we'd done, all the things we'd learned, all the kind of youthful abandon that we'd thrown into our first version of the restaurant, and bring it home essentially to something that feels permanent, hopefully. Whilst the financial fallout of closing that restaurant has sort of come to an end, and we're now rebuilding and we've got this new space, the scars of that kind of pain and that kind of learning are very deep. And I think it makes me very cautious about who I work with. It makes me feel very protective over myself and my business and my space. And that filters down to everything. I have a great relationship with my partner Gabe, who's the chef here and my co-founder. And I think then everybody else understands how to work with us. There's a mutual respect and a mutual understanding about what we're trying to achieve. Hospitality is not just us giving to the guests, it's the whole building needs to be giving to each other. And that even filters down to how you choose your accountant, what kind of PR people do you work with. I've learned a couple of times to just cut your losses with certain relationships, and it doesn't have to be aggravating, it doesn't have to be, I think more people need to be open to the fact that sometimes it's just not compatible, so you just part ways, and actually it's better for everybody involved. And yeah, so I'm trying to become less cautious and less distrusting, but I do actually think that is helpful for me personally. Oh, sorry, thank you very much. Very behind the scenes. A lot of people are very reluctant to say, you should do this, you should definitely do this. Your accountant or your brand consultant or your PR, they can't really say to you 100% you should do this. It has to come from you instinctively. But longer term, I think Gabriel and I pull in information from every point that we can get. We spend a bit of time analysing it, and I think that's where our kind of forward thinking comes from. I would also say that industry friends, informal advice is probably the most valuable thing. Even if we disagree or if we do things differently, there's a trust and an openness that means that we discuss it in a way that actually is mutually beneficial for both sides to see how the other's working. And because every business is different, I don't think you can just see what your friend is doing and do the same, because it might not work. It can get really easy to get caught up in the logo, the Instagram, what's the identity, what cool stuff we're gonna do. And that can take up so much time nowadays that it can almost distract you from the reality of what it is to run a business. The fortunate thing that we have is that the brand is kind of in motion. It's kind of doing its thing. We're working on it constantly, but actually the brand of Rita's is really just being Rita's. I don't think we're really trying to come up with this amazing brand package. Actually, what we want to do is build a business. If we do that, we have meaningful jobs, we have, good relationship with our suppliers, we have a nice lifestyle for ourselves, we contribute something to the neighborhood, we have freedom to do charity and social projects. Any advice I give people is sort of like, make sure you're looking at both sides of this. I also think it's fun. Once you start getting into the nuts and bolts of business, it's so nice to be like, I've just saved X amount of money on this, which I can now spend on this because I spent 10 minutes working something out. We've been fortunate enough to kind of keep the team that we had until this point, but we're in this bit of change right now. We are currently recruiting. You've probably heard, some extension work's done. And then come summer, we'll be a team of 20 at least. People wake up every, 5 days a week and come to this thing that I've decided to build with my partner. Actually, that's quite humbling. There are things that you can do to be a nice boss or a good boss, but the reality is that good HR is really important, like good people management and good operations, and kind of just supporting people through their own journey in life is kind of different to just giving them a staff discount, But actually, I would like to have been coached a bit better in the importance of carving out time just to look at information. I think when you're the founder, you're kind of convinced yourself that you have to be on the floor, present, ready for everyone every day. And as we've kind of been here in this restaurant, I've realized that's important. But the more I do that, the less I'm away from the things that are really going to either make us or break us long term. And unfortunately, they're all in a computer on a spreadsheet. So I need to balance my time a bit better, I think. The feedback loop in hospitality is not spoken about enough, I don't think. The idea that someone comes to a restaurant or a bar to be soothed or to be relieved or to be comforted or supported is absolutely what we're here for, until their presence in this space is having a negative impact on other people. It's a very difficult subject to approach with your team because actually, on the one hand, we want to build people here who have care and love for our guests. But on the other hand, I'm not trying to build an army of subservient people. Now is the time to rewrite the rules of what that exchange is allowed to look like. I don't believe that we can move forward and we can operate this industry and improve it if we're not working to mutual levels of respect. How do I measure success? Well, definitely not financially. I think success is like being able to invest in extending this building, and also knowing that our presence in this building for years to come will be felt by the fact that we've changed it and we've enhanced it. Things like keeping staff is a real marker of success for me. Having regulars, that relationship that you have with people who repeat visit your business is one of the most important things that you can cultivate. And also, I think time is a good measure of success. I think more than ever, success to me looks like us and everybody on our team being able to spend time with their family, travel when they want to, because actually I think people in this industry should travel all the time. I think it's fundamental. Hospitality and travel are completely bonded in my eyes, like understanding food and drink from different places and being able to eat differently and experience the seasons. And so travel for us and our team is kind of like a focus this year. I love making restaurants and I love making jobs. A place that people come together socially and simply enjoy food and drink is one of the most amazing things you can do. And my advice to anybody who wants to open their own place would be to test the waters for sure, and also get more money than you think you need, maybe 25% more than you initially think. But don't be afraid to kind of do it as you go. I think once you break that seal, it's okay for things to shift. Have a concept, have it sort of packaged up neatly, know exactly what it is that you want to do, but be open to the idea and the possibility that the neighborhood you land in, the street you find yourself on, the people who become your regulars, the people who work with you can also influence that. And I think progress and success lies in being open to that and allowing it to kind of shift and come to life in an organic way.